Welcome to the Bracket Factory and welcome to the latest thrilling episode in the big American La France V12 engine project. Now in this episode I'm going to test my new flywheel. If you saw the previous episode you saw that I made a prototype out of plywood. Voila! And in theory it should work, but the proof of the pudding is in the eating, so let's tuck in. So it's an exciting day today. I got a message from Pete and he's let me know that the flywheel plate is ready for collection. So we're heading on over there now and we're going to pick it up. Hello Pete, how you doing mate? Nice to meet you again. Yep. So I hope you've got something to show us.
Do indeed.
Yeah, walk this way.
Paperwork.
Wow, look at that.
We can push this in here if you want.
No, don't worry about it. I can knock that in. It's slightly off oval. It's slightly off round, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that'll be an interference fit.
Yeah.
That looks fantastic. Can you show us the machines you used to make it?
And indeed.
Cool.
Come this way.
Very slippy floor. Wow.
Do some Puma.
What is it? A Puma 400L?
Yeah.
That is enormous, isn't it? What's that you're making? A big...
That's a pin. A low pin that will probably go on a shackle on a crane on a ship.
Wow. Absolutely massive. Excellent. So my job was a small job.
Yes.
Yeah. And what about the...
And that's the planet control.
Right. Wow. Okay. So no winding stuff by hand then? What about the milling machine? Is his blame Chris if the holes are in the wrong place? Yeah. Right, so that's the mill. Cool. Awesome. Right, all loaded up. So thank you very much, Pete. I shall let you know how it goes.
As you're doing business with yourself.
Yeah, and I shall see you at the next karaoke, yeah?
Certainly will. Yeah.
Excellent, awesome. Singing Elvis.
More than likely.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot. Cheers, bye.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you.
So we now have the merchandise and it's time to go back to the Bracket Factory and see if it actually fits. So back at the Bracket Factory and time to take a closer look at this flywheel plate and double check everything. So I'm just checking the flywheel now and it's looking absolutely fantastic, apart from one tiny issue. Now if you look at the drawing you'll notice that the clutch cover, also known as the pressure plate, is held down by 6 bolts and then you've got these 3 dowel holes which are offset by 13 degrees. And if we look at the actual flywheel, we notice we've got the screw, M10 offset hole, M10 offset hole, M10 hole is offset in the right direction, in the wrong direction. So what would you do? You'd look at the drawing, wouldn't you? And sure enough, Chris, who made this, not me, the correct Chris, has copied the drawing exactly, because I have drawn the hole in the wrong place. I even marked it up, should be there, and then I drew it in the wrong place. I drew it on this flipping dimension line and then put the 13 degrees offset in the wrong side. So yet again, being a human being has let me down. So I have screwed up here. So I'm going to take it back and ask them very nicely if they'll put the hole in the correct place. And then, I mean, balance is not going to be an issue, but I'll fill that up with a dowel pin at the correct length and just tap it down so that hole will be filled up. So yes, I think we're going to take a little trip back to Karaoke Pete and ask him very nicely if he can correct my cock up. So sometime later, actually quite a long time later, because Nat and I went rock climbing in France. More specifically, we went bouldering in Fontainebleau. Now bouldering is when you climb up a boulder and then you either climb back down again or you jump back down again. It's an utterly pointless activity but we really like it, so it's all good. Anyway, back to the matter in hand. I took the flywheel back to Karaoke Pete. He very kindly drilled a new hole for me. I owe him a few beers, which I might have to sort out later on tonight. But let's go back over to the bench and review where we're at. So here we are back at the bench, and I've got a flywheel with an extra hole in it just there. So thank you, Pete, for doing that. I owe you some beers. Now, the next step is to check that the clutch cover pressure plate fits. So it's located on these 3 dowel pins here, which you couldn't do this before. They're a loose fit, but I've got some interference fit ones that I'll try later. So obviously the critical dimension here is the pitch circle diameter. So let's offer up the clutch cover pressure plate and see if it fits. Right, here we go. Offering it up, and it fits. It fits beautifully, so that's great news. So that means I didn't cock up that one, and it means I've got these dowel pins which are an interference fit. Lift this out, and these will go in here, and I'll have to knock these in, but not quite yet, because I want to carry on checking things. The other thing I've got is this bearing which goes in there. I think that will just knock in, but I'm not going to knock that in yet, because I still need to check a couple of things. I need to check that this machined index here is the right size to fit in the existing flywheel, and I need to make sure that these holes are the right pitch circle diameter. And if you remember, one of them is a bit of a is offset by where is it, that one, offset by 3 degrees. When will I see you? 3 degrees. Is it correct? So let's offer it up to the engine. Right, it is now the moment of truth. I need this to fit in there, in this recess, such that A, it does fit, but B, it doesn't wobble from side to side, with no perceptible movement. And I need the holes to line up with these holes, and I need this offset hole to line up with the offset. So let's do it. Stick it on. Quite heavy. Well, it goes on. That's good. It goes in the rebate. Do the bolts line up? That's the question. That goes in fine. That's good. Another one in. There's no, I can't detect any kind of movement, which is also very good. Let's get one more in. So that's gone in really nicely. The question is, will this hole line up? No, it won't. It won't line up. I can see that it's about 2 mil out. Okay, so that's not massively surprising. So we need to whip this thing off. I noticed that it kind of pressed in, so it might be a bit of a job getting it off again. It doesn't matter. I'm sure I'll get it off, but I need to sort that out now. Right, so I've taken these bolts out, and this is jammed on, which is actually a good sign because it means it's a really nice fit. But I've got to get it off, so what I'm going to do is just going to screw this in here, a bit of M10 threaded rod with a couple of nuts. We call these lock nuts. The Americans call them jam nuts. Just going to screw this in, and it's pushing against the flywheel, of course. So I'm hoping this is just going to, oh, there we go. Hopefully it's going to just pull this thing off. There we go. Perfect. Right. This means I can take this over to the milling machine and sort out that hole. Right, we're over at Tut Mill, and what I've done is I've bolted a bush to the bed, which means I can rotate the flywheel around that bush. And then what I've done is I've lined up the cutter such that it slides straight down the hole. Oh, that's a bit of a fluke, isn't it? Straight down the hole. So all I need to do now is rotate it round by a couple of millimeters, clamp it down. Recognise that? Clamp it down with those, and put another big clamp just there, maybe another one there, and then cut the side of this hole. I've marked it there so I know which side to cut, because it would be really stupid to do the wrong side, wouldn't it? I wouldn't want to do that, so let's do that now. Right, one oval hole made, so let's see if it works. Right, flywheel now bolted back up. I put 2 bolts in, pushed it tight. This is my hole. Will it fit? Yes, it will. So that's good. Obviously, we're back in the game. So now I think we need to fit the roller bearing, fit the dowel pins, and sling it all together. Right, back at the bench, and what I want to do is I want to tap this needle roller in there. Now, this is slightly oval, so we've had to kind of estimate the correct dimensions, but we're hoping this should just tap in. So let's see. Don't want to go too hard because I don't want to knacker the bearing. Look at that. Perfect. Pete, Karaoke Pete, you're a genius, mate. That's exactly right. So, that's good. Next step is these pins. Now, these are dowel pins that I've turned down. These are the ones, are these the ones? These are the ones I made. Don't want to put it in that hole. I want to put it in that hole. These are the dowel pins that I bought. Now these are an interference fit, so these have been machined and reamed to, I think, dead on 8mm, and these are a gnat's whisker more than 8mm, so hopefully these should just knock in. As long as I do it straight. Yes, they do. Excellent. Right, let's stick the other ones in. Where are the other ones? Dowel pins found. There's nothing like having a tidy workbench, and this is nothing like a tidy workbench, but this one's gone in fine, so let's tap this one in now. Perfect. Let's just check. Yeah, that's perfect. Notice I put it in the right hole. I left that one in there, so I couldn't do it in the wrong hole. So let's do the last one. Thought I'd lost it again. Right, I was holding it like that so I could feel it underneath, so that's perfect. Right, I think it's time to stick it on the engine. it's on now quite nicely. So time to put the clutch cover on. Clutch disc and clutch cover. Right, it is on. That all went without hitch, so obviously the next thing to do is to very carefully offer up the gearbox. I say carefully because I don't want to start smashing the needle roller unnecessarily. So get it all lined up, slide it on nicely, and then we can do a bit of a static test to make sure that it actually releases properly. Right, it's on. That went on really easily, so I'm pleased about that. Of course, I still have to engage this clutch bearing, so that should just be a hit with a hammer. Done. That was easy as well. So now is the test. If I disengage if I put it in gear, comme ça, obviously I can't turn that. But if I disengage the clutch, I should be able to turn it. So let's try that. Right, here goes nothing, so can't turn it, disengage, I can turn it, yes, can't turn it, can turn it, so it works, fantastic. So I'm pretty pleased with that, but what I really want to do now, and it's a great excuse to start the engine, is to take it outside, start the engine up and take it up and down through the gears using my new clutch. Before that, I've got a few bits and bobs to do though. So I've got to fill the box with oil. This is the dipstick, by the way. How cool is that? I think it's like made out of bamboo or bakelite or something. Put some oil in it. I've got to disconnect this oil feed, otherwise I'm going to dump oil all over my clutch bearing. I don't want to do that, doesn't need it. I've got to put the plugs back in. I've got to make a new dash mount again for the third time, but I knew how to do that. And I also, what I want to do is I've got some unions. Where are they? Lurking around. There they are. I want to connect a balance pipe between these two inlet manifolds because I don't know where I saw it quite a long time ago. Is that they tend to work a bit better if they're actually connected. But first, before I do that, I want to do something on the Wragg, which has been sitting here patiently watching me. I'm actually going to a car show next weekend, so what I want to do is just give it a bit of a check over, give it a bit of a clean. Poor thing's been a bit neglected. Start it up, make sure it's all working, clear all the junk out from everywhere. Big thing of wire there. Yeah, just check it out, make sure it's all tickety-boo, and then we can swing the guns round to the big V12. So a fair bit of elbow grease used, and she's come up all right actually. So I've cleaned all the aluminium. It's come up quite nicely. I mean, I've not gone crazy on it, but it looks quite nice. And it's quite good to have a jolly good look around everything and clean everything, because you notice a few bits and bobs. Like I've noticed there's the odd screw missing. They tend to shake loose because the whole thing vibrates like crazy. The only other thing that I found was that some of the aluminium had sort of got the sort of white powdery surface, you know, corrosion, but that basically just wipes off. A bit of oil and stuff. So I had stuff on the starter motor down there, and some off on the alternator just here. Incidentally, this alternator is a conversion that I've done. I did some videos about it actually. It uses a Kubota alternator and a voltage regulator underneath there, so it works quite well. What else have I done? I've checked the lubrication, that's all fine. I've checked the carb. Quite a good test to do is just to turn your, I've got electric fuel filter, so just to turn that on, I'll turn that on now, ignition on, fuel filter. If I turn the fuel filter on, makes a clicking noise, but sometimes if it's sat for a long time and there's any issue with the float bowl, it will piss fuel out everywhere, and it's quite good to know that before you try and start the car when the bonnet's on. So I'll turn that off now. That's fine. I can do a few more little tests. I can test the starter motor. It's down here. It's a little pull switch here. It's cable operated. I pull that, spins over nicely. Dipstick's down there. I've checked the oil. So it's all looking quite good really. Steering wheel's cleaned up quite nicely. Turn the ignition off. So I think suspension, I've got a little bit of corrosion on the suspension, but I'm not going to lose too much sleep about it. It's sort of, you know, you can call it patina or patina depending on how you say it. It's fine, it's all right. Oh, I also checked the radiator, which incidentally is a mini radiator, although I have swapped that. It was there, that's gone to there, the filler cap was there, that's gone to there, and the pipes at the bottom have been swapped as well. But that's all good. I've topped it up. Actually, I didn't need to top it up, I didn't need it, it's fine. This is the header tank here. It's actually a non-pressurized system, so when it expands, it just basically comes all the way through here, comes to this header tank, and then as it cools, it siphons it back again. So I've done a few videos actually about this car, about making this, making that. I made it all actually. I've done a video about making one of these, a shortened thing. I've done a video about making that. So anyway, I think without further ado, I think we need to take her out for a little test ride. So test drive complete, all good, nothing fell off, so I think we're ready for the show. So I think now it's about time we wheel out the big guns. Right, it's all set up and I've done a few things. So to put this link pipe on, in the end I cut down these unions and tapped them with quart NPT, and that's worked all right. Reinstated this mainly through paranoia and dropping something down that hole. I've had to flip these rods over because this is in the way. I've obviously redone this dash mounting here for the third time, but that's turned out all right. What else have I done? That's about it, I think. So the plan is pretty simple. Get the engine up and running, warmed up, ticking over nicely. Oh yeah, I put some oil in the gearbox. And I've blanked off this so it doesn't pump all in there. Yeah, carry on with the plan, get it up to temperature, and then basically just see if I can put it in gear and run it up and down through the gears. So let's do that. Well, I don't know what you think, but I think that's mission accomplished. I managed to get it up through 4 gears, got it into reverse after a bit of mucking around, and it all seems to work fine. Did discover a couple of little niggles, which I'll show you. Turns out this pipe here is meant to connect to something, and it basically spat oil all out and actually all over my foot. Which wasn't too good. See, that's the danger. The good thing about Crocs is that it lets all the oil out. Also, unfortunately, I managed to burn through my cable, my oil pressure pipe, because it was touching the manifold, so I had to fix that. So it's now routed to avoid that. And I'm sure the engine could do with a little bit of tweaking and fettling and setting up. But it ran quite nicely, I have to say. It takes it once it's warmed up, it runs a bit better, but ran quite nicely. So yeah, all good, I reckon. So if you like that, please hit like. If you want to see what I get up to next, don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. As I mentioned, I'm going along to a car show. It's the one in Pangbourne on the 31st of June. That's Pangbourne in Reading, Berkshire, England. I've got some stickers, so come and say hello and I'll give you a sticker. Don't forget to get the merch. There's a shop there if you're interested, but I think for now that's just about it. So for now, thanks for watching.